Good morning, folks. I'm sitting here at work. I'm a little early, so I figured I'd post up a video this morning. Oh, wow. It's been a rather interesting 24 hours, the last 24 hours online. It really, really has. Um, Turn the light on here so y'all can see me because it is still dark out. Like I said, I am a little early to work. That might be a little bit too bright. Let me try this one. There we go. That's a little bit better. That a little bit better. That's my little headlamp, by the way. It's pretty bright, right? Let me see if I can't turn it down. Let me turn it. And that's just on one. I mean, I can get brighter, you know. Okay. All right. So, let's go over some of the information that I have heard. Well, first off, is there a Russian sub off the U.S. coast? I can almost guarantee that there's one probably on each coast, and it's probably been there for months. Russia normally has a lot of subs in the water, and if you think that they haven't been out off our coast for some time in international waters, well, darling, you're mistaken. Okay. Is it anything to really worry about? Just be aware it's there. I really wouldn't be too worried about it. Oh, that's interesting. Look, the light is shining in my eyes. It's making me look like I'm a ghoul. Ooh. Oh, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Okay, let's see if we can't move that like that or something, right? Because that's hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Number two story of the day. Number two. Has the Earth's core stopped? Well, I'm no scientist or nothing, but I would suggest that you go watch Suspicious Observer's video on that, because all this fear mongering, I'm going to tell you what, this fear mongering is getting really ridiculous, okay? It really is getting ridiculous. And I have no idea why my phone is going in and out of focus. I have no idea on that one, okay? But no, the Earth's core has not stopped rotating. What has happened, and it is significant, it is interesting, it could affect our length of our day, but what's happened is the Earth's core has slowed rotation slower than the actual mantle, which means that inside, the little ball inside is moving slower than the ground on the outside, which we're all on top of, is moving around the core. So that's significant. Yes, that's interesting. That's very significant, scientifically speaking. The only thing that we're probably going to see is maybe either a shorter or longer day. Maybe. And then it's only going to be like maybe a second or two. I mean, nothing significant, really. So, everybody that's stating all this stuff is just fear mongering. And we see a lot of this online. We see a lot of this on YouTube and online, fear mongering, for people to get your money. That's what it's all about, okay? First off, let me tell you something. I don't want your money. I work for my money, and I'm happy with what I make. Okay? I don't need your money. I don't need it. Now, I haven't even moved the phone now, so the reason it's going in and out of focus, I have no idea. So, um, stop watching all these fear mongers, guys, and take that money that you would normally spend to these fear mongers and use it for your family. Okay, use it for your neighbors, right? Here's a wild idea. It's a very wild idea. Go look up the information yourself. Don't listen to all these people online. Go look it up yourself. Right? Now, when I was growing up, that's what we had to do. We didn't have Google. And just so you know, I like Google. Right? I really do. I think it's an absolutely fantastic instrument. But it's not infallible. And if they want you to think something, if you Google something, it's going to come up with whatever the AI deems to be most significant. But it could not be what you're actually looking for. Now, I've found this many times that I was looking for a specific thing, and I Googled it, and I ended up having to go through 26 pages before I found what I was looking for. Because it does have algorithms which bury certain pages. And that's because of whoever programmed it. That's not the AI's fault. Just so the AI knows, I'm not blaming the AI. I'm blaming whoever programmed the AI. And soon that's not even going to be an issue because AI is going to be programming itself. I mean, it's just to that point. And I think everybody knows that. I don't think I'm stating anything bizarre by saying that. Okay. Now, that's the second story. The third story, which I find significant that nobody's talking about. Here's the other thing. If you find out information and nobody's talking about it, you might want to pay attention to that information. Because there's a reason why they're burying it. And so I find this significant. And I find it significant because I've read Revelations. So I can't be sure because I'm not God. But by reading Revelations, it sounds to me like there's going to be 2 asteroid impacts sometime in our future, which will be significant enough that it will turn all the water bitter. Well, the only way that can happen is if something explodes in the atmosphere, and the easiest way to turn all the waters bitter, which kills everything, is arsenic. So if you have an asteroid that is full of arsenic, and it's made of arsenic, and it comes into the atmosphere and it explodes, yeah, everything, 1/3 of everything will die. And it's written about in Revelations, and it's called wormwood. Well, that's significant to me when I read that. And then this information came across one of the small scientific communities that I watch on occasion about an asteroid. Now, what's significant about this asteroid is it is a fairly large asteroid. Okay, it is a fairly large asteroid, which anything moving at that speed even if it's a pellet, if it hit, it would be significant, right? But this is a fairly large asteroid. I think they said it's about the size of a VW bus, which you might not think that's very large, but that's pretty damn large, okay? And they didn't find out about this until this past weekend. They didn't see it. Now, what they're saying is that it's going to come about 2,000 miles above the planet, a close flyby. Now, just so you know, the satellite communication systems that we have are at 26,000 miles. And some of the Starlink satellites are right around 3,000 miles. Some of them are lower, some of them are at 1,500 miles, etc. They're kind of spaced out depending on the area that they're above, okay? And if this asteroid does a flyby at 2,000 miles, like they said, it might disrupt communications. But here's the significance, that nobody's talking about it, for one, because they don't want us to know. And number two is, what is the possibility that it hits one of those Starlink satellites, and because of that impact, it changes direction? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but in my mind, if they're not talking about it, and they know it's coming, what do they know? Just some thoughts. And if it's not this one, it could be another one, right? Because it seems to me like we are slowly but surely moving into a more active situation as far as asteroids and meteors and comets go. Now, there is a Hopi legend. It's a myth about the blue Kachina being the destroyer, and we are supposed to be seeing a comet, which really, strangely enough, when we see it on the ground, first week of February, pretty close, it's going to put off like a blue-green glow. And this was written about several thousand years ago by the Hopi. Might want to pay attention to that, right? We might want to pay attention to that. Might not be nothing, right? I'm not trying to scare you. Like I said, I don't need your money. I'm just telling you that if they're not talking about it, why ain't they talking about it? Right? Why ain't they talking about it? Because I would think that this would be significant. If nothing else, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to observe. And they're not really discussing it. So that makes you wonder, right? Makes you wonder. Now, another thing I'm seeing is freight still seems to be pretty light. I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. Probably not till the end of March. So I would suggest, that's my boss coming in, by the way. That's why the other light came on. I would suggest that if you can, hold off on any kind of updates or any kind of equipment buying until after March. I mean, Who knows what's going to be happening between now and March. Also, always keep an eye on Yellowstone, right? Because something's going on at Yellowstone that, again, they're not talking about. And the only person that I can find that's even talking about anything going on with Yellowstone is Mary Greeley News and Justice Shine. Okay, those are the only two that I see that are even discussing anything about Yellowstone. And I really think that we need to be paying attention to that because it's like negative degrees out there in Yellowstone and all the snow is melted. That's not normal. So if the ground temperature is above 30 degrees, which is what it would have to be to melt all that snow, but the wind chill is at minus degrees, something going on there. I mean, like I said, I'm no scientist, but something going on there, right? So, what I think is I think that magma has come up closer and closer to the surface. Now, do I think it's going to erupt? I don't know. I don't think anybody can tell you definitively that it's going to erupt. I really don't. But it is something that we need to keep an eye on. Right? Now, I'm giving you all this information. You can go and look it up yourself online. I watch several channels on YouTube for news. I also look at Alex Jones on InfoWars. I also look at Epoch Times, the Epoch Times, for information. I look at overseas, Sky News. Okay, I look at all these things. I watch all these things, listen to them all day long, or research them at night while I'm at home. And I do that because I want to know what the hell's going on. Right? I want to know what the hell's going on, man. Well, what are you hiding from me? I got like this because of the fact that I have seen our illustrious leaders hide stuff from the people. So that's why I'm the way I am. Is for being 59 years old, I have seen that sometimes the people who have the money and the power are very evil. And I have read Revelations, so I know what's coming. Everybody who's read Revelations knows what's coming. They know what's coming. And it's not pretty. So we have to keep our eyes on God and keep pressing forward without fear. Knowledge is powerful. It helps us to prepare for our family for what is coming. And if you've never read Revelations in the Bible, I would suggest that you go read it. A lot of it sounds like mysticism or like really crazy stuff. I mean, it doesn't make any sense if you just, I don't get the letters to the churches. I'm going to be honest. I don't get those. Okay. I don't get them. I really don't. But that's okay. If I need to know it, God will open that up in my brain and it will click. As some of you know who have read the Bible, sometimes when you read a verse or something in your brain will click, and you know that whatever verse you're reading is addressing something that you should have addressed before. But hey, I don't get the letters to the churches. I really don't. But that's okay. I think you need to read Revelations. And I think you need to pay attention to what it says about wormwood. And I think you need to pay attention to the fact that it says there's going to be earthquakes and typhoons and disease and people crying out for bread. That's coming. And I think when you read Revelations, you're going to see a lot of it lines up with what we have going on today. Now, are we in the tribulation period? I don't know. It sure looks like it to me. But that's not my point. That's not my decision to make. My decision is to follow my Lord and do His will every day. And we need to focus more on that than on anything. And stop all this fear-mongering, folks. Put the information out there. Keep your opinion to yourself, right? Just give the information. And try not to do so much fear-mongering. I mean, of course, everybody's got an opinion. Okay, I've got an opinion. I give my opinion. But let's stop with all the fear-mongering for money. Because that's what's going on. I'm seeing it from people I respected. For several years, I watched these people. And then all of a sudden, they are like, what the are you doing? Right? It's like they're standing there with their hands out like, give me money so I can scare you. Like at a carnival. That doesn't help anybody. That helps you. It doesn't help anybody else. Focus back on what needs to help people. And if you're new to prepping and you just found my channel, please, 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 please do yourself a favor. Go to Bear Independent. Look up his older videos. Watch some of his Prepper Series videos. Please. Honest information is there. Honest information is there online for free. And I would much rather see you do that than go to some of these channels that are spouting all this fear trying to sell you crap. 90% of this crap that they're selling you don't need. 90% of it. Okay? You don't need it. Just saying. You do need the information. And you can get that information free from a library or online. Just saying. I hate to hurt everybody's feelings, but that's the truth. And all this fear-mongering is not doing anybody any good. Okay? It's taking people down bad roads and it's making them go into debt to try and get this and that and the other, which is absolutely useless to them because they're never going to use it. That's some truth right there. So, let's stop with the fear-mongering, folks. Let's get back on track. Right? If you've been doing that, if you've been fear-mongering to make money, you know what? Change direction. Okay? Change direction. Let's get back on track to what's important, and that is giving people information so that they can prepare for what is coming. Because we all know it's coming. We see it coming rapidly. Rapidly. So, let's get off the fear and get on to the practical. Fear doesn't do us any good. Fear makes us stop and not do anything. So let's get off the fear and get on the practical. Okay? All right. Bicycle!